All right, let's get right into it. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Sex Actually podcast. This app, we got a sign. You like that? You're my Vanna White. Travis Clyburn, what's happening?
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, shit, I just realized my coffee. Are you close enough to my coffee? I prepared everything except, boy.
Oh, I'm sorry, doggy.
Dog.
I just murdered your dog.
Do you think that the dog has to sit in, but like, he's like the number one wingman out there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's always 1 foot away from you. I'll wake up in the morning and like try to step out of bed and I step on his face. He's like, all right, let's get up then.
This is my morning. Yay.
Welcome, man.
Well, thanks for having me.
So this is a broadcast today. This is going to be just a couple bros.
Word. So
we met in the last couple months at my new favorite hang, the Fourth Wall.
Oh, yeah.
And I always when I always have a new comic on, I always know like just enough about someone from what I've heard them talk about on stage.
Right.
So here's what I know about you. You're recently broken up and you're from Ohio.
Yes. Yeah.
That's my starting point.
That's your starting point.
Welcome to singlehood. Not that I'm single, but welcome to.
Right.
There's a level of reminiscing I have when I'm like, oh, single. When you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym today, and I'm like, oh. That's nice.
I know.
And no one's going to ask you when you're done.
Yeah.
What's that feel like to be out there free?
I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm kind of... it sounds great in theory until you're just so single, you know?
Like, are you at so single level?
Not really, but it's getting there. It doesn't help that like my living situation's weird because me and my ex, we live together. And so now I'm like either living at Joe's or in a van. You know what I mean? So it's like...
It goes to show what dudes will do to be single.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah, because a lot of people's misconception, because I'm living in like this weird touring van...
A touring van is the best type of car to live in.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not a car. It's a van. You've got leg room.
It is exponentially rapier, though.
Yeah. You have the little curtains in the windows?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
They're like faded from the sun?
They're tinted, too. So there's enough windows to make it 50% less rapey than like a full-on panel van.
Do you have a... do you like park... Because I live next to an elementary school, so I want to make sure that you're allowed to be near children.
No,
it's weird. I live next to an elementary school and in a gay bar, and there's nothing against gay bars, but whatever the fuck they do at this gay bar is like weird shit.
Oh, is it one of those?
You just... The next morning, there's needles on the ground and condoms, and or at least they're sort of safe, I guess.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess shady bars come in all shapes and sizes.
They do, yeah.
But no, I just park next to Fourth Wall all the time because they got the gated area.
That's nice.
And most of the time I just walk everywhere since,
But it makes you realize, like, what? Like, you don't have to pay rent right now.
Yeah, it's
You're getting over... So what? So did you move into her place? Let's unpack this. How did we get to living in a van?
Let's see.
And there's no shame at all, by the way. No shame. This is basically a van without wheels. My studio apartment. This is close to a van.
Well, plus I've met I don't know how many comics that have lived in their car for years and stuff like that. So at least I have a mattress and shit.
Jim
like
Carrey,
that.
Right?
Yeah, he for years. It was Joe Menente, the owner of Fourth Wall.
Really?
Yeah, he lived in his car for a full year. Erickson, he lived in his car for like 6 months or something like that. And Joey Diaz keeps telling me, like, yeah, dog, I was fucking homeless for years.
He was.
Yeah, living in his car. But me and my girlfriend got together. I lived in Virginia Beach area.
Virginia is for lovers.
That's what they say.
That's what I've heard.
So appropriate that we got together there. And it was one of those things where our common goal was mine was to get back to Los Angeles, and hers was to just move to California in general. And so we moved out here, got a studio apartment, and then things slowly unraveled and just started more working out anymore.
So who decided that she was keeping it?
I'm the one who left. It was one of those breakup conversations that was like, okay, we can either talk about this or I'm fucking gone. And then she left, and I was like, "Word, me too."
Oh, she didn't want to. She didn't want to communicate.
No,
to resolve things.
Garbage communicator, and that's coming.
Well,
from
that's a big deal. That's a big deal to me. I never claim, and this is again a microcosm of probably what would be very beneficial to society.
Yeah,
I don't ever claim to have answers, but I want to talk.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's like with society or relationships or family, it's like we don't need to have the right answer, but we need to talk because by not talking, you're like a pond. You're just going to be still water and you're going to create some disease that you're going to...
Yeah, true. And we would usually, I think what prolonged the relationship was that every now and again we'd finally both break down and she would actually talk about something, or at least let something out. You know what I mean? But then it just got to a point where like she just didn't want to talk about anything anymore, because it was like almost the same goddamn conversation over and over and over again.
Which was what?
Mainly it was, I don't know. I think we just grown pretty indifferent to one another's
How
existence.
long were you dating for?
2 years.
So you moved from Virginia to LA.
Yeah.
You made that decision together.
Yes.
What was her plan for LA? Did she have one?
Well, she's got a degree in graphic design, but I think she just wanted to not be in Virginia anymore.
Yeah.
And she'd always, I think, romanticized the idea of California. She's always liked the idea of like San Diego, San Francisco,
Sure.
something like that. And then, like, I had a bunch of connections here, so I was like, hey, let's fucking, give LA a try. And I think she was having a lot of trouble finding her own way in this city, because it's
a lonely town if you don't have like a mission.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't have a thing that you're out here to do,
this town will drive you nuts.
Yeah, because she has 3 different jobs in just the year and a half. We've been here just trying to find a place here and there. And if she's pretty introverted too,
which can be a good thing. So it can be. My girlfriend's super introverted, and for those listening, they know everything about my relationship with Tasha, and just probably what I've said on stage, which is, and she knows this. My side of the story, I'll always, go for the joke on stage, but I try to be the victim to like, not to. I never want to say like I'm a victim, but I try to be the guy who's the damsel in distress in the joke. You know what I mean? Like, I can't be like, fuck her. I've got to be the one who's like, I'm an asshole. But it's interesting dealing with someone who's introverted, because, like I mentioned before we went on air, like sometimes she'll have an issue with something and think it's something I did to her, or like it's almost like her environment is so needs to be so specific that if the sound, smell, or temperature is off from a very small... It's like this. I put it this way. She's like a field goal that's 4 feet wide, and I'm the field goal kicker with bad accuracy. Right. And I'm like, I really just want to kick a good fucking field goal, but you're setting the bar as the goalpost very narrow right now. And that's what it can be like to live with someone who's not of the same sort of energy or vibe as you.
Right.
Like, were there issues that you like couldn't avoid just by just living together?
Well, I think we worked well as a team, but more as like, it was weird. It kind of, the relationship over the last year devolved into us being like just 2 friends that lived together, because we did everything well and we worked well together, but at the same time on a, relationship or romantic front, it's just like we just didn't have any of the same energy whatsoever.
Which happens.
Yeah, and it can happen. You can either grow together or grow apart, that whole fucking cliche.
That's the whole thing with the sap. That's our dumb tree right here, is that you either grow together like, with each other, or one overshadows the other one and kills it.
Yeah.
But that's one thing. If one of these roots takes root and becomes the master tree, the other one wilts and dies. Exactly. Out of resentment or whatever, and that's the giving, and then the giving tree. It's like if one's just trying to give to the other, they're just going to reduce themselves to a stump. Like you just gotta, and I'm okay with like gentle codependency, gently leaning on each other, but to the point where if one falls away, when one pulls away, the other one doesn't fall over. You just go, oh, okay, and then you're back on your own feet. Because I've been that guy who's totally super give up everything from me for the other person, and then they pull away, and I'm just like, I've got nothing left.
Yeah, that's what happened to me when my first relationship, where I was engaged and we lived together and stuff like that when I was much younger.
And how old were you for that?
We lived together from the ages of 18 to 20, almost 21. So 2.5 years. Everyone
listening is going, 18.
Yeah, I know.
So you basically started dating out of high school?
Yeah, like pretty much right after I graduated, she was still in high school.
And you're saying you were super codependent in that relationship?
And I still have codependency issues for sure.
Well, you're a comedian.
Yeah, exactly.
I look at it this way. I'm proud that I care about others. I am. But I have to remember, like, okay, like I got to look at the scale sometimes and go like, okay, I'm way outperforming and not getting enough love in return. Sometimes where I'm like, and then codependence will give so much to somebody and then get resentful. Like I said, I had to go pick up Tasha at the airport at 2 a.m. and I'm like happy to do it, but I'm also like, I know she's not going to drive me to the airport when I have to go tomorrow. Well, because I'm going to leave my car at a friend's place where there's no street sweeping. There's a whole thing behind it, but it's like, but I'm also like, I didn't just drive you to the airport at 2 a.m. to then have you come home and tell me what's wrong with the place. Like, come on, acknowledge I helped you.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, especially when you, especially as comics, you get a lot of your gratification.
10 minutes in, I made it all about me. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
Just keeping track. People will go, "Oh, Dave's super narcissistic." Yeah, well, I'm aware of it. I'm sorry. Anyway, back to your codependency. So, like, well, how would it surface? Were you just not pursuing your own passions, or?
Yeah, it was interesting because, like, I don't put any of that blame on her in any way, shape, or form. It's not like she was, like, telling me I couldn't. Like, if anything, she was really encouraging of me doing comedy and me doing anything, pretty much anything to get me away from her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just had I always get some weird mental obligation to, like, be around, even if I don't need to be around. You know what I mean?
So you feel like guilty if you're, say, out at a mic late, and when you could be home on the couch with her.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know she likes attention too, but I feel like. Well, you were talking about this on stage the other day, the whole love language shit.
Don't bring up anything I say on stage. No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Love language. No, you're right.
Yeah,
I'm a piece of shit. That was fun. That afternoon mic was really
that 15-minute mic. It's nice. I feel like most people who do that mic end up just breaking down and telling people all, like, too many things.
Yeah.
You didn't do that.
Well, I'm okay. I'm okay being like, look, my pains and my weaknesses are all on the inside.
Oh, yeah.
They're not. This isn't. I don't pretend. Yeah. Maybe on Facebook because I don't really like want to get into shit. But I don't pretend to have my shit together.
Right.
And like love languages is the only thing that is spelled out for me what it is that I want, that I need. Because I've always like looked at like giving people like gifts, things that I would want to give them because that's what I would like a lot of compliments and gifts. That in return, I'm like, oh, that's what I want. I want quality time.
Yeah,
that never even occurred to me.
I felt like we both spoke two different, or maybe 3 or 4 different, languages or whatever. Like what I thought was enough or was the right like language to speak or whatever, just didn't translate right. And like same with her, like she would do things that weren't that important to me, but for her, it was like,
and probably she could have, and I'm sure, like, to give her credit, probably had no idea why you weren't grateful for things you didn't even know you were being given.
Yes, 100%.
It's just like you don't even know. You don't know what you don't know, and
until you have those breakup arguments, and then like she would like start listing all these things she didn't know. I was like, I didn't understand that was a.
Are you aware of what she was trying to give you? Like,
yeah.
Does it make sense now?
In a way, yeah.
And even if you are aware, it doesn't mean it helps.
Yeah,
you can be like, oh, all right, well, they're trying, but like in the end, it's not what you need.
Yeah, precisely. And it's one of those, like, I never discredit everything that she did in any way because, like, if we weren't the people we were, it'd probably work out better, which, I mean, is why most people break up to begin with, right?
Yeah.
But it's not like she was probably the most normal, nice human I've ever dated for sure. Especially because I've tried to date a lot of like actresses and stuff like that. No offense to all the actresses.
Well, actors, comedians, we're all searching for sort of love and respect. And someone said it on a different podcast. I'm going to be ripping them off. That like you come to Hollywood like looking for your mom's approval or your dad's approval. You just come like looking for fucking approval. It sounds so pathetic, but I think it's worth saying because I think you could break that down in a lot of industries. Like my sister's got 4 kids and she's a mom now and and I'm sure she loves it, but there's also, I'm sure she's looking for my mom's approval. You know what I mean? Like we're all looking for that weird thing. It's kind of like sort of how the human sort of race survives is like needing that that drive to be better. And it comes at a cost if the other person doesn't appreciate it, and in a lot of relationships, the only way you learn is through breakup, and then you try again with another person. And if you don't learn what it is you need, you'll spend your whole life being a fucking bitch, hating people for not giving you. And it's like in the end, you're just like a baby who's crying because they don't know if they want to be burped or fed. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah.
We all just want our asses wiped.
Yeah, and it's important to figure out what you need to make yourself happy.
So what do you need?
In general,
what do you need from? Give me your love language. desires. Two bros. Tell me what love you need.
Bro, what love do you need?
Dude, you looking at me, bro? Just tell me what love you need. Don't be gay. Don't be gay about it.
You're nothing gay about telling another bro what kind of love I need.
Hold my hand. Now, hold my hand. Tell me what love you need. Light that candle. Burn some sage. You need affirmations?
Yeah, for sure. Physical contact, like a motherfucker, too.
Oh.
It's like, I need cuddles. I'm a fucking giant child.
Ladies.
When it comes to that.
Get this guy.
I know, yeah, like, and it's weird because I feel like whatever weird hole is in me, I've always been attracted to girls that are like either physically or complimentarily gifted. That's not even a word, but you know what I mean? Like people who can't speak those languages, yet I'm like trying to get it out of them or something. It's almost like I've got some weird need to challenge myself to even make.
But that's fair though.
Yeah.
That's fair because you're not like I've had girls that they'll blow you and give you a hot towelette and a espresso after. That's too specific to be not true. And you go, what the fuck? This is amazing.
Where were you?
Bored. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, well. And what I'd give for my relationship now to be like, oh yeah, make me an espresso and a hot towel on my balls after you blow me. That would be nice. But it's like that's not gonna fucking happen.
Well, yeah, or if you find a girl that speaks one of your languages and then speaks none of the other ones or something like that. Like I've had a lot of those instances where it's especially if like you have a great sexual relationship and it's like, oh, also you're impossible to fucking talk to, so then you can't get any quality time.
I'm a hopeless romantic. In the sense,
Word.
Well, ladies, I'm hopeless in the sense that I do believe that it is a language and it is a muscle to be learned. And if you can't do it now, I mean, what are we on this flying rock for? If it's not to build and be better people. And this is true for dealing with your parents. Dealing with the relationships that never progressed. It's like, well, let's stop blaming our parents because the hand they were dealt, sure, they ruined the environment and they fucking crashed the economy and they all bought homes for $20,000. Sure, congrats. But they were raised by, World War II. They couldn't hug and we're all just, the result of some shitty situation. But our generation, we're seeking. I truly believe we're seeking and we're like looking for like how to like I'm looking for how I can communicate with my mom in a way because it's not about it's about what she needs in a mother-son relationship, not about my needing this. And it's like the tables are it's like all flipped now.
Right.
When you start thinking about it, and it's because I'm going home this week and I'm thinking like I really want this trip home to be super special. I don't want to just go home and start picking fights with people because that's what you kind of do is you start picking fights with people.
Right. Like family members and stuff.
Oh yeah,
like that. Yeah.
And I'm a likable guy, but I'll pick a fight. I call my mom and like she's kind of like the person I complain a lot to.
Right.
And I'm like, she doesn't need to hear this, but she's just like she listens. So it's like I don't know, but so I do believe that with love languages and we're able to learn. Like with Tasha, I'll never need, or at least right now, I don't need what she needs. But I've learned that's what makes her happy. So it's become a little bit easier to be like, okay, well, I can still give her my love languages that make me happy, but it might not translate. But I also have to give her what makes her happy.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough because I definitely know she struggles with basic like affirmations. I want to open a school of how to compliment others.
Yeah.
Dave's school for complimenting others.
I always think that's interesting that people don't know how to do that. My ex was like that. Like just no concept of how to like use words to make another person feel better.
Doesn't it feel great? I compliment you from the stage. You got the big forearms. You got you're look at this dude. I'll give you like nice eyes. It's like a little gay, so whatever. Fuck it. I don't give a fuck. My buddies like I'm always like I just bleed like this gratitude. It's about having the gratitude for whatever it is you appreciate in somebody else.
Yeah.
But also letting them know because like I've got friends who have died and I'm like, boy, I would have loved that last phone call. Even though like they knew how much I loved them and how much they meant and all this, but it's like it's still like there's no endless amount of time to get around to telling your dad, hey man, thank you. I
think about that a lot too. Yeah, I think that because I'm also ultra complimentary, which I think is why it's also one of my love languages or whatever. Because it's like I don't know if I see something that is good or that I like, I just say it out loud. But I feel like so many people have a problem just verbalizing that emotion.
You're not honey dicking somebody. Compliments are free.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's compliments that are self-serving. You know, we all suck the dick of the industry once in a while. Good set, bro. Oh, fuck it. You know what I mean?
Or I don't. I see a lot of people do flirty compliments that like it seems like you're not like trying to fuck somebody, but trying to like get something via flirting and be like, oh, you're so handsome.
Yeah, right. There's manipulating for sure, but that's if that's what you have to get to also receive decent compliments. Like I love nothing more. Like the fourth wall, the mic that we go to. I've met people that afterwards they go, "Oh, Dave, like I loved, like that was great," and this and that. And it's I mean, I don't have anything to offer them, and I appreciate it. And I've learned to appreciate a compliment. It's tough sometimes to have a compliment. Like I had a show at the Yoo-Hoo Room, and and it went, and I did all my new dick jokes. That's all I've been working on is these stupid dick jokes, right? Which is weird because like that's not. I've never done this many kind of blue, whatever, light blue dick jokes. And after the show, and it was a bunch of non-comics. And after the show, I go like walk out to my car, and like there was a group of people, and they were like I kind of like double taked, and they're like, "Oh, Dave, oh you were great," and the other was like, "Yeah, you were amazing." Nice. And it sounds so stupid to say because I know like with comics we kind of shame each other for being like, "Oh, dude, you killed," whatever. But it felt so good, and it was a stranger giving it to me with no motive, other than to tell me I did a good job.
That's the best, man. Yeah, because
stranger compliments.
Me and JoJo with Dat Fan did the Ice House. It was the first show I've done for a while in front of like full of strangers, and just like standing outside smoking, and then people would like walk by. Oh my God, you are so great! I'm just like, it's slowly filling the hole inside. I feel warm,
and it sounds so pathetic on this like pride level. But it's not. We all need it. I look at Tasha and I go, your inability to, and she knows this. I'm not talking shit. But like I go look at her and go, your inability to give a compliment. How sad must it be for you to grow up in the years where you kind of developed who you are, not feeling like you were given those. You know what I mean? That's all it is. If you can't give compliments, if you can't affirm others, you weren't affirmed. And that's that's when you find those types of people where they're lacking in what they can give to you, and you just hug them harder because you're like, fuck, man. And I don't know if, and again, there's things I lack too that I probably don't even know about. I too was abandoned in ways growing up that like my mom, to the best of her abilities, couldn't control. Like single mom, like so for me, I want like a lot of that touch. That's not even the first thing. I think when you solve one issue, it's like building an IKEA dresser, right? You build one fucking shelf plate thing at a time, and then at the end you see if it looks like what it's supposed to look like. Oh, right. And with the love languages, like right now, the affirmations, it would be nice to get more of those, but also the physical touch would be nice. And dating a girl who's maybe slightly a germaphobe doesn't touch me to the level at which, like we'll have battles, and I'm sure this is common in relationships where we both want the other one to touch. You know what I mean? It's like we both want to be touched, and so it's almost like the only solution is to go to like a massage parlor and sit next to each other while some strangers touch us.
Yeah, I think I find myself attracted to girls that didn't get enough attention to, or like, because my ex, her dad for sure was full Rain Man. Like he had Asperger's for sure. Like he was just super fucking weird. So like distant in every way, shape, and form, but still kind of there. You know what I mean? So I felt like never got any compliments or affirmations, even though her mom was super complimentary. But like still, I think like if one key element and growing up is missing, then it can just kind of fuck with your whole head. And
then you're building armies and pyramids and shit just to fucking get that satisfaction. Yeah, I haven't been complimented much from Tasha's parents, and that's a weird thing because of course I want her approval, but I want them. Tasha's sister has told me, Dave, you're great for her. Like we're so happy you're part of our family.
Which is great to hear, I'm sure. Right?
Yeah. But her sister's more like me, where like she was like the extrovert sort of athlete, always putting herself out there. The thing I've battled with Tasha is which is insane, this fear that she has of putting herself out there. This Sports Illustrated casting video that I like made her make. Yeah. was something that she did not want to do.
Really?
Did not want to do. She's a fucking model.
Yeah.
She didn't.
What she does,
and she had a very hard time, and she'll be open with it. She had a very hard time with some of the angles. And like and we made like a beautiful video. And I encourage everyone who's listening to go to her Instagram and send her a compliment. Because I get nothing but love when I see strangers compliment her. Especially when people that listen on the podcast, they go, "We listen to you on SAP. So proud of you." Blah blah blah. I love that. There's no like hoarding the compliments. Everyone, I want everyone. I love when people write in and say they love her. This and that. I'll fight a war for her. But it was interesting that she has felt like nervous to put herself out there, and I'm like, your potential is so amazing for what you can do if you're not afraid of strangers' judgments. Now we as comics,
we literally have strangers judge us,
but we've also learned how to parlay it in a way that I think we can survive in most comedy rooms, and we can we've learned to take all that failure and keep getting up.
Yeah, true. And we have to deal with sometimes rejection from here to there if you're performing like at a mic and the stranger is just staring at you blank faced as you bare your soul and tell jokes. So we do have to compartmentalize it in our brains and kind of turn off that
I had this
fear
dude.
Of rejection.
This dude kept yelling "next" at every one of my jokes.
Oh, fuck that guy!
I got him kicked out of the club, and he was wasted. I mean, dude, I could have been saying like, it could have been like Bill Burr up there next. The dude wasn't like, and I was getting laughs by everyone else, like to the point where they all cheered and got him kicked out. But it was like,
nice,
and I was okay with that because he was drunk, and it wasn't like a dude. It would have been worse if someone sat through my whole set and was like very honest about why they didn't like it, but he was like fucking so much of an asshole. I was like, this isn't even a thing. And then, but like, it's interesting what we let in as critiques, and but we're I mean, by no means bulletproof. We're here talking about how much of how losers we are for the little things we need, the little touch and this and that. But it's true. Yet we can go up in front of 400 people and kind of good or bad survive that.
Yeah,
and that's something that again is learned. Sometimes I was kind of happy. I was going to try to do stand up in college for this talent show, and a fraternity brother told me, he was like, "Look, man, I don't think you know how hard it is to do stand up," and he of course never done it before. But so I was actually convinced not to do it, so I didn't start it for 6 more years.
No shit.
Which is fine. Maybe I would have. Again, it was horrible for him to sort of like shut me down like that, even though his intentions were nothing but good. But also, maybe I would have bombed in front of this big audience. In front of this big hostile kind of drunk audience. Maybe I would have ate shit.
At colleges. I mean, most pros won't even do colleges anymore.
Oh yeah, and who knows? Maybe it would have gone well, and I would have been 6 years ahead. I don't know, but to look at it like, who knows why? Like what sort of incubator we need to become to get to this next level? Because a lot of people, I'd say probably half of people who have ever tried stand up do it once or twice and then don't do it. We just see the people that keep on showing up, but there's thousands I've done stand up with that like try it and they go, okay, that was cool, and they kind of either scratch whatever itch they needed, or they just decided it wasn't for them, or they bomb so bad they go back into fear and don't try it for another 10 years.
Oh yeah, and living out here, especially when I worked as a mover, I'd get a lot of people like, "Oh, you do a stand up?" My roommate does stand up, and it was just some actor that has gotten on stage maybe 3 or 4 times. So
and that's the thing, anyone can do it, anyone can try it,
anyone can get a microphone.
I don't no judgments, but like, so with her it's just like, you're a professional, like this is what you do. I just want the world to see it. And if I'm guilty of anything, it's and again, and she loved the outcome of it. I think she was just so nervous about her own self-image. And I don't mean to say that like, when I see people that are nervous about their own self-image, I pity them, because I too, there are things that I get sort of like hung up on too, but not nearly to the extent where like I'm proud and maybe delusional at what I'm doing.
Right.
So for her to like hyper analyze, it's like the saying that I've been saying with her is just like that perfection is the enemy of good. And that's all. True. we have to fail in front of people. We don't get to practice the piano for a year and then play a song at a recital. We fail our new jokes in front of people, and then we kind of like shit on ourselves. And we've learned how to like, you know, bomb gracefully, like, you know, the Buzz Lightyear, like what's it, falling with style or whatever, you know, whatever is it, falling with style, whatever his saying was. It's like we've learned how to parlay whatever fucking failure we have into like shitting on ourselves and making it work on stage. But I don't have a job where like all that matters is my face and my body. You know, like I don't have that thing, but I would give, if I could give her a pill that let her see what I see, I think she would be so free from all this.
It's hard to do that though. It's hard to, like, I get hung up on little things about myself, especially like, you know, in this, like, especially doing the live stream that we've been doing and whatnot. You have to look at yourself far too fucking often.
What do you get hung up on?
I get hung up on maybe my weight, because I've just been so heavy, and even the more weight I lose, I still don't see it and stuff like that. If anything, actually, Ellen Doyle's got a great bit about it, like fat girl confidence or whatever, where she says like when she was heavy, she had all this confidence, but then as she started losing weight, like she became less confident because all she could do is focus on her physicality. So really, like, I thought I looked better 3 months ago than I do now, even though I've lost like 50 fucking pounds. So clearly that's not true. But it's more of the more you start looking at yourself, the more you start focusing on it. So I don't even know how your girlfriend stays sane, because
she doesn't.
What?
But thanks for letting her think so. No, she's.
No, but I mean, like,
it's a daily. It's like a meditation. Yeah. And not that she's meditating, but it's like we need. And again, I'm with her on this. We need to like wipe out the social media. I'm starting to. I did a thing like last year where I would stop having my cell phone in bed at night. Smart. And it grows legs and it walks into bed, and they go, but it's my alarm. Fuck you, no. It's your alarm. But it is. But then I'm looking, you know, staring at a screen, and then just seeing everyone's highlight reel when I'm supposed to be recharging my soul. Fuck this.
Yeah.
And I'm in the trenches. It's a battle, and it's like, no one feels good about looking at that shit. Nobody.
Well, yeah, I think millennials are really having a problem with shutting the fuck off. Like, you know, just stop absorbing information and
compare
stuff.
Yourself today to yourself yesterday, and be better tomorrow. But like, I can't. And I'm sure there's someone who scrolls Facebook and looks at my life and goes, "Ugh, if I only had Dave's life." You know what I mean?
I think about that a lot, because especially like being from such a small town and stuff like that, and like when people are like, "Man, it's so cool what you're doing out there," I'm like, "Is it?
Yeah,
is it really?" I was like, I had no idea.
and that's on them to reconcile what they're doing, and because we also have to like, look, I'm not going to stop creating and putting my stuff out there. It's up to other people to like take it with a grain of salt or context and realize that this podcast doesn't mean that my life's all together. It's just like, this is me opening the book and showing you that like we're talking communication, we're talking expressing love and gratitude, because that's what the hardest thing is to do in the world. And when you're when money and all those other things, I mean, which is so crazy. Like I posted something that like, there was an article that like, once you make 175,000, the more money you keep making, your happiness doesn't go up any higher. And this girl Lauren, she was like, I disagree, and which is totally fine. Maybe her threshold's 400,000 or whatever it is, but at some point, you're not going to be happier. Don't get me wrong. If I was making six figures or something right now, my happiness would go up to a point where like I would like a little pressure off, a little more hiking and less side jobs, and totally. But also like it, like in the end, $1 million check isn't going to make me any funnier or do the things that I need to to propel myself to the next level. And once you get real with yourself on that, you stop glorifying like all the beautiful things. Like I rode in my buddy's Tesla the other day. It was fucking fantastic. And then after I had to move my car out of the way because it was blocking his garage. So we took his car for a spin in his Tesla. Then I had to then it parks itself into his driveway, it literally like has a mode where it just and it drives itself. And then after that, I had to go move my 04 Toyota back in it. And it was like, you know, sounded like this chitty chitty bang bang car, like steampunk engine. And but I'm like, I'm fucking grateful for that car. You know what I mean? Like that's my that's my guy that gets me around and has my like life, You know, like cars for me, that's like my ride or die. That's what keeps me sane, and I'm yelling into the fucking seat cushions, and that's my fucking. There are tears and blood and boogers in that car in no particular order. But like, yeah, so I don't know, when it's this whole like idea that someone else has it better, and with Tasha, she's killing it right now, but also I want her to be at the level where, I don't know, I don't want it to be like a Band-Aid fix where like, well, then she wins Sports Illustrated, so then like everyone loves her. I want her to know that the job wasn't getting selected, the job was putting your video out there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Just getting yourself out there more.
And the things that stress her out are like the production side of things, because like, well, we're not going to shoot it on some shit phone, and she wants it to look great. Well, I was like, all right, I got my boy Kevin, he's a cinematographer. I'm going to run the bounce card with my buddy Gooch. We have pro audio. Yeah, Gooch and I are like old roommates. That's his real name, Gooch. Ben Gooch.
Word.
And he's a dude that like no shortage of appreciation and gratitude when I tell him like he spends 4 hours with me editing it. He's like my boy. He picks me up when I get in a car accident, drives across town. Like, dude's just there. You're like just a great guy. So like I'm able to help her out with like, don't stress out over these things. Just be you on camera. Right. Just help me decide which bikinis you want to wear. Yeah. It just be, and then there was this moment where we're on the beach. We shot it on Tuesday. We're on the beach. I got my JBL speaker playing this like Miami DJ ultra mix. It's like, you know, whatever. And it's like, you know, beaches are loud, just windy and shit. So like we're blasting the music, but like not bothering anybody else. It's like afternoon. We were going to shoot into the right before sunset. We have a lifeguard tower to ourselves, and like it was great. And in that moment, she would have been so mad at herself if she had decided not to put herself out there. Like the reward that she got by putting herself out there, I just want to make sure she sees it and doesn't worry about the next step, because like the next step doesn't matter. Like you did the work. And with comics, I don't know, like it's just easier for us to do the work, to show up. We're not being selected. We're being selected in some ways, like the industry decides, you know, but in the end, it's like, if you're funny, you're funny. And the longer you do it, the funnier you get. And with her, it's like,
funnier is to keep going in front of people and embracing the rejection or potential rejection.
And she's in the industry where, and I joke about it, the longer she does it, I mean, the quicker she's going to be escorted out by traditional standards.
That is, you did make that really good point on stage. Like, it's kind of...
The longer I do stand-up, the funnier I get. The longer she models, E. And it's the E. By the way, that joke kept on bombing until I started saying E. Because I'd go, the longer I do stand-up, the funnier I get. The longer she models... And then I would just kind of pause, and half the time it would hit. Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck do I say? And
I love when sound effects are somehow the punchline you need. It's silly. We do the silliest shit in the world.
It's so dumb. But and that's what the podcast is great for, because it's like you're more, like the industry has decided that asses are in, and lips, and this and that, and whatever. And there's one lady named MJ who's at Sports Illustrated and picks the 5 finalists who go on to jet set around the world and do all this amazing thing and swim with pigs in the Bahamas and blah, 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 blah. That's fleeting. That's fleeting. Yeah. Even though that might be great now, but it's like, what's the long term? Do you create, like, what are you going to create and sell that's a part of you that replenishes your happiness? And that could be as simple as like a dog shelter. I mean, it really could be. It's not. I'm not promoting some like take over the world shit. I'm not trying to pimp her out, but it's like, what is it going to be? Because I know what I'm pursuing, and it'll change and bend, but I need to know that because what we had, and I think I talked about it on the last episode with Tasha, is this real feeling like, not that she's being left behind, but that she doesn't have her mission.
Right.
Even though she's the clear breadwinner in our, you know what I mean? Right. And it's like, well, I have to keep going. And this is what I've had to teach myself with codependency, is I'm almost more driven by knowing what can happen with myself, that I need to go to these shows. I need to go to these mics. I need to go write. I need to write the screenplay. I need to do this. If I don't, I'm going to focus all my energy onto you and be upset when it doesn't bounce back to me.
Right. Yeah, I think I had that problem with my ex and stuff like that. And like,
so at 18 is when you started comedy?
19.
When you 19. So she encouraged you to do comedy. And by the way,
we
this was your big years?
Yeah, it was a lot heavier. Well, no, this is a different ex completely. That one, the one I was engaged to.
Okay, let's go back to the engaged ex.
Yeah, that's Lizzie. Different human. That's the one who cheated on me.
Right. I want to talk about that for sure.
Because that's some shit.
Because I only know what you've said on stage about it, and
yeah, and of course the stage is a more refined version of the reality. Because I can't get up there and be like, well, then this bitch, and like.
I don't think I've been cheated on. I haven't put myself into many relationships to give that opportunity. I almost protected myself by just like kind of being a bachelor and whatever. Yeah. How do you get to engaged, cheated on?
I feel like, okay. The girl that I was engaged to is for sure crazy. Definitely out of like, which is fine. She was my kind of crazy, especially at the time.
Well, argue in her defense. What's crazy about her? Is she super emotional? Is she not? She
kept. Well, she kind of like my last ex too. Just kept a lot of shit in until it hit a boiling point.
Okay, so just bad communicating.
Yeah, horrific communicating.
And again, not to say yours is better. I'm not trying to take your side just for the sake of
absolutely,
because it's easy to be like, wow, because women love, and I love to generalize genders because people get so mad. Women love, and people go, what do they love? Women love to be like, fuck him.
Yeah, I know.
And then how are you learning if you're like, fuck him?
Yeah, that's a good point. But to be fair, I take most of the blame for a lot of that. Obviously, I didn't put that dick inside her. But you know what I mean, like. I know I did a lot of wrong things, especially because I was 370 pounds. Like I was a hefty boy, and she was not ugly. If that makes sense, she was way out of my league, and at least I was aware of that. Mm-hmm. And even though I'm fine enough, but at the same time, like just being so heavy, I think I had so much insecurity that I was always worried she would cheat on me or find someone better or more in her league.
And did you let her know that?
Yeah. Like
so was that sort of? I mean, I wouldn't call it manipulating, but by being jealous, you're kind of creating a world that you fear.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
it's just weird about that. You're always like, oh, don't leave. Oh, why are you running away?
Well, I think the insecurity also came in. Like she had a stepdad who was like out of his fucking mind, and in order for her to do anything that she wanted to do, she would have to lie. So her default setting when confronted with any truths was to lie. And then if you'd catch her in a lie, and then eventually, like, even though it was the smallest, dumbest fucking lie, like, I went to the store today when really she got her hair cut or something weird like
and
that.
Maybe somehow she's thinks that the truth she'll be looked down upon. I mean,
yeah,
which I've white lied. I've not told Tasha I'm going to the gym before because she's gonna be like, well, why didn't you want to wait for me? And it's like, well, I just didn't want to have this conversation. I just wanted to go and
because sometimes the truth is.
But again, it doesn't make her right. Like I've had to learn just like fucking say the truth.
Well, then, and when you constantly catch someone in lies, even as small as they are, and she would lie like she would breathe. Like you just stop trusting them completely,
right.
And then of course, when you've got that level of not trust and insecurity, you should just fucking end the relationship. But being somebody who I didn't think there was any world where I could get anyone better than her, so
you put all your energy into her.
Yeah, and it just made everything so much fucking worse.
I feel like with codependency, for me, it's only triggered with relationships where I'm like, I don't want this to work. I need this to work.
Yeah, and for my own gratification, I needed that relationship to work, and then because I'm like, man, it took a long time for me to get over that one, but especially more because I think I blame myself more than anything.
So why did she cheat?
I think she was just over it, man. Like, there's only so much you can take, and honestly, like, I don't even know. Because we were together 2.5 years, lived together for 2 years. Like,
was she cheating with different guys, or was it the same guy?
No, just one guy.
Same guy.
The guy was, she would, for the last 2-3 weeks of our relationship, she would go over to her friend's house, and her friend, I thought, lived with just her baby daddy, but her friend lived with her baby daddy and her baby daddy's older brother, and she started fucking the baby daddy's older brother.
Wow.
And then, that's the guy that I think she's still married to this guy and has like a couple kids with him. Because that's the Ohio way, man. You just reproduce.
Here's the thing with the Midwest and in New England. I mean, Catholics, man, we're fucking shamed to shit. Oh, it hurts. Oh, yeah. So like, I'm not. It's all. I mean, I'm sure. I don't know anything about like the Muslim culture. I'm sure there's like just so much ingrained in shit. But the Midwest, man, like like Tasha's from northern Kentucky, which is near Cincinnati.
Shit. Oh, like Newport.
Yeah, exactly. She's from Florida. Well, I should say where she's from, but it's close. Yeah, it's within.
Oh,
she flies out of. She flies out of Kentucky when she goes home. So,
that's pretty much mine.
You see these families that are like, her parents are still together, but like, and they're great. Yeah. But like they if they were on the podcast, it would be very interesting to like push them in their wounds and be like, why don't you just with parents. I like to write people off and be like, just love them, accept them for who they are. They're fucking in their 50s. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But like, I can only work on myself, and I can only work on my relationship and go, why is Tasha the way she is? And you look at her parents and you go, well, okay. I mean, she just whatever. But with like someone who's so it's so hard for your ex-girlfriend to share her emotions. It's like sure the cheating. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's probably the best thing that's happened to you. I mean, I want
for sure.
You know what I mean? Like it gets you.
It literally made me lose 150 pounds. So.
It's amazing what a good old breakup will do.
Oh yeah, man.
Abs.
Spite weight.
So how did you find out?
I was coming back from a show from Indianapolis. Like I was driving back with some friends, and
you're like early 20s, 21, 22.
No, it was right a couple months before I turned 21, so 20. And I had like she was over again, for another night at her friend's house, right?
And did that concern you at all?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Were you living together and you were engaged?
Yeah, we were living together. I technically have a house. Not really. My dad's living there now. It's this house that's next to my grandfather's business, and so we were living there together. And like, so she wasn't paying for rent or anything like that. And at the time, I was trying to pursue comedy full time, like a fucking idiot. But I was, in Ohio. How the fuck do you pursue comedy full time there?
Drive to Indy.
Yeah, exactly. You drive around.
There is a good circuit in the Midwest, but obviously, if you're like, that's a good place to be when you're like featuring. You're like 8 years in, 10 years in. I feel like. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, so
we're driving back from the show, and then I sent her the moment what confirmed my suspicions and my insecure paranoia was that she said she was over there. I was like, cool, I'll stop by and we can hang out because we had plans to hang out anyway. And then she freaked the fuck out. And I was like...
Is this on phone or text? Or what?
Text.
Yeah, so you could tell she was like...
Yeah, just sent a bunch of text over and over again. Like, no, why do you always want to come hang out with my friends? I was like, first off, bitch, I never want to hang out with your friends. I don't even like your friends. So that started to get a little weird.
Did you initially want to go over out of the goodness of your heart, or were you like, I need to investigate?
Investigate to be...
You just had the intuition that was like, this isn't...
Yeah, because it just got, like... I just had a feeling.
Was she sort of feeling lonely that you were on the road? And
no, not really. I mean, I was there enough.
Because she must have wanted something that you weren't giving her.
She was, when we met, she was with another guy.
I'm not victim blaming you, by the way.
Oh, no,
because you are the victim of the cheating, and maybe she's the victim of whatever, we don't know, or we're learning.
These are also patterns,
but boy, do people not care when a guy is cheated on. Do you know what I mean?
Oh no, they don't give a fuck. What did you do to her?
Yeah,
how'd you drive her into that other man's arm?
Take that dick.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you do?
Oh yeah, especially
when it's the other way. It's like that bastard.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
of course he cheated. All men cheat.
Yeah, dirty pigs. I think women cheat. I mean, again, all women. I think women have a very high cheating percentage.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's easier for them to cheat.
And boy, you never want to read the Reddit. There's some Reddit subreddits of like what happens on bachelor and bachelorette parties, and it's like the bride to be was sucking the stripper's dick, and it's like, but don't get me wrong, I know men that are just fucking animals too. Like again, it's like I shouldn't clump people together, but
because women are the gatekeepers of the goods, their ability to cheat is so much higher than ours. You know what I mean?
And I always wonder that too. Whereas I haven't cheated, nor do I plan on it, and I haven't been tempted by. Whoa, you know what I mean? I've been tempted. I've been tempted in the sense that I've had other buddies be like, "Dude, I can't believe you turned that down."
Yeah. If a halfway attractive female comic comes into fourth wall, there are 10 comics at any time, counting herself, one being the host.
Sit up straight.
Every one of them, if she just went, who wants to get in a line to bang me? Like, at least, I don't know, 8 out of 10 would be like, sure.
Yeah. Put a bucket. Put our names in a bucket.
Yeah. Draw it out like it's a fucking...
Slotted for her slot.
Did you sign up on Slotted?
I signed up. I'm 10th. Fuck. I hope they pick going backwards, so I don't have to get Joe Menente's semen sprayed onto my dick.
That's why I get it. Like, so honestly, if men do cheat more statistically than women, which women would argue that that's a fact, but even if that's not a fact, it's like women could cheat so much fucking more.
It's enough. It's not a men cheat 10 to 1. It's enough where it's a 40 to 60 or 60 to 40 in either direction. It's enough where shitty people are shitty and cheating might be their way of justifying. I always wondered that with Tasha, where I go, oh geez. Now imagine I get like some tour, or like I do a lot of road shows. Is she going to start like hanging out with another friend because she needs quality time and I can't give it to her? You know, I think I said this on stage the other day, how like she wants me nearby but doesn't, like, as an introvert she doesn't want to talk to me. She just needs me nearby, like her Wi-Fi. But that's what it is. And if like my Wi-Fi is not there, she's going to log on to some other guy's Wi-Fi.
Yeah, which is a totally, in my opinion, valid insecurity, I suppose.
But it's also this is showing how I think, as far as like thinking I'm replaceable. Like my self-worth isn't at the level where I'm irreplaceable. I'm the only one for her. It's like, well, she'll find another guy that'll hike with her. Yeah, and I think like with my ex that I was engaged to, like I feel like that was that same insecurity but dialed up to fucking 11, because like I couldn't see any redeeming qualities in myself. So because of that, it's just like I didn't even understand or fathom why she was with me in my own mind, and no matter since she was shit at complimenting to begin with or anything like that, and communicating, it's just like nothing she could say would convince me otherwise, because like I just needed so much affirmation to convince me that like, oh no, she actually does love me. That's neat. You know what I mean? Cool.
Cool.
But man, like, some people are better at compartmentalizing, so maybe she was able to compartmentalize her relationship with you, but still seek the things she needed.
Oh, well, what I was going to say, when I met her before, like, she broke up with a guy to be with me, and so naturally, like, I feel like she's a serial dater. Like, she just always needed someone in her life, because the relationship she was with and before me, she was in, I think she was 14 with this guy, so she was with this guy for 4 years. Did she cheat on
him with you?
Yeah. Well, no, not necessarily. Like, we didn't fuck or anything like that. But
But you were lined up before he was out the door.
Yeah, 100%. Like, to a point where I was like, be with me and break up with him kind of situation.
But it also helps
like an emotional
to show
cheating.
How you developed that jealousy, because you knew that relationship was founded on kind of like not bedrock.
Yes, exactly. And it's like if she isn't with somebody, then she has absolutely no self-worth, you know what I mean?
And that's like something she needs to either learn about or just live with. Or maybe she has no clue. Maybe she's not going to evolve. Like,
I don't think she would ever evolve, because I think when she's like single and trying to find herself, I think she loses her goddamn mind, because like much later when we talked after the incidents, like, she went through, like, she's like, it was a rough time. I was like, what do you mean, you were just going and doing horror shit? Cool, whatever, you know? Sometimes that's what you got to do.
It wasn't rough for me at all. But, and I think it's like, we are faced with the same problems in life until we resolve them, and it's like the Grim Reaper will keep showing up and knocking on your door until you fucking acknowledge it. And she, could figure it out with her own epiphanies, or her husband could die and leave her alone, and she'd have to learn who she is. The scary thing of finding out who you are is something we've all sort of been exposed to, but also you can put a podcast on and not listen to that voice. You could put out the Sex Actually podcast on. You could rate and review. Even you could share with your friends. You could do all those things. But sometimes I have to turn off the sound and listen to what the fuck is my issue, because I know it ain't going to go away. It's going to come out of the next stressful situation. And with relationships, sometimes, like, who knows what she's feeling in the next one. So anyway, did you catch her red-handed? Did you just know?
No, like, she didn't come home that particular night when I was texting her or whatever.
Oh, I would have not slept.
No, I did not.
I would have not slept at all.
And then I think I finally fell asleep at like 6 a.m. and like woke up a couple hours later. And then she finally showed up around noon. And of course, most women, again, generalizing.
Please do.
Like the moment they're in a situation where they're in the wrong, they immediately, or at least this particular girl, took the ultra offensive. You know what I mean?
Defense mode.
Yeah, like just fucking like.
Yeah, well, you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so she shows up like that. I am moving out, and I was like, "Where the fuck are you gonna go?" Like,
now, why is she saying she's moving out? Were you like, "Fuck you, get home"? Were you?
I'm sure I blew her up a fair amount.
You say how she was kind of like, "I'm moving out," but like, did she violate? Because I mean, it fucking sucks if your fiance isn't coming home and you're like, what the fuck? And she's like, avoid, you know what I mean? Like, that sucks. Like, did you even know where she, like the address of where she was?
No, I didn't.
So you couldn't find her if you wanted to.
No, like even if I would have fucking, I wasn't even sure which town it was in. Like, there were a couple towns over.
And there's a level of control you want in a way that's like, I say this, like, I would prefer if Tasha's out of town to get a good night text. Just to like wrap it up. But I also know.
Or another fucking alive sometimes, you know? Like, were you raised with parents that were like, you know, like, just let me know when you get somewhere so I know you're not dead in a ditch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't need to know. They just check in, and that's cool. And again, you need to sort of learn, I think, that you can live without that. But it fucking sucks, man. I've got situations with Tasha where she didn't know, because I think she doesn't suffer from these same problems of like the text me, but you know, like that craziness where it's like I like lost my shit. I was working a job. I got this huge job as a warm-up guy for an MTV show.
Oh, nice.
It fucking sucked. I did 2 days. I got fired. The show was only maybe 4 recording days, but they I mean, come on, they found like a 30-year vet. They found a guy who could talk to anyone from anywhere and make them laugh. Right. And I was like, nah. But I'm doing the gig. She's out of town with her friend, a female, and they're staying at the friend's uncle's place, which is totally fair. And I trust her friend, and I trust her. Yet I didn't hear from them, and they were drinking. Like, her friend was like a rowdy chick, so like they were doing shots. Tasha probably had 2 or 3 drinks.
Like the friend that you know will enable horrific behavior.
And this friend I like a lot more now, but she was in a place where she was like on a lot of Adderall, and she was fighting with her boyfriend, and she was just seemed like a problem child. She's in such a better relationship now. She was a real like I give her a lot of credit, but like when I met her, she was like trying to fist fight her boyfriend, and she was nuts on Adderall, nuts. And anyway, so they're out.
Makes you feel safe.
Yeah, right? And they're going to some dive bar playing pool, and you can just imagine the fucking seedy dudes hitting on them and this and that.
Oh yeah,
and like I never thought she was like cheating on me. I really didn't, but I was so fucking panicked. I couldn't sleep. And here I am at the job, at this probably best job I've ever had, you know, with like good pay. I'm in a fucking studio, you know, on a set for MTV and this and that. And I'm just like so pissed she hasn't responded to me. And the last text I got was that she was like drunk. And then the next morning, I was driving for Uber at the time too. I started working at like 5 a.m. the next morning because I couldn't sleep, and I was like, I got to distract myself. And then I finally get a phone call from her at like 7, and I lost my fucking mind. Yeah. And she couldn't believe it. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." Like, whoa. And I was like literally in a panic.
Right.
And I can't let that happen.
Yeah.
Well, and she needs to learn not to maybe, you know, that like that my feelings come from, that they did come from a place of like, jealousy, but concern and just wanting to know, like, are you cool? Like, we hadn't done much of the away from each other thing yet. Yeah. Whereas now, the longer we've dated, the more trust we've built, I think. And that hasn't happened since, and I don't wish that feeling on anybody, and I'm sure that's kind of what you were feeling.
Oh yeah, I've had other relationships where like I've had situations like that.
Gosh, that's the worst.
Yeah, and it's like it took me until I got older to be more empathetic, in the sense that it's like they're not here living in my head thinking my thoughts, so you know, and not everyone is as empathetic as me as well. Like, they can't see anything from most people really can't put themselves in anyone else's shoes. Like, especially any girl I've ever dated ever, you know what I mean? I don't know if women, you mentioned like they're the gatekeepers of sex. I don't know if they necessarily know how vulturistic men are. And we are just like genetically there to protect. And when the girl's not with us, we're like, fuck. And you just have to like release this crazy feeling of wanting control. And like, I would have been okay if I looked at her Snapchat and saw that she was partying with her friend. Like, I would have been okay if I just knew. I didn't need to like be
like in constant communication with her.
Right.
It was just a drunk on a bed.
Not knowing's a motherfucker, right? Like I think that's what leaves a mind, I suppose, like ours to I don't know, use our imagination of
to
what the
wander into the
possibilities could be.
darkest parts of our
Yeah,
soul.
because it's not like you fucking, think like, oh, I'm sure everything's great. It's like you just start delving into like, oh, she's been roofied and clubbed with a hammer, I don't know.
stuff.
Just nut shit.
Why wouldn't that happen in your theoretical?
because-
Why wouldn't it?
Yeah, because that happens
And
all
who wouldn't
the time.
want to roofie her? She's beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's the other thing. Yeah, like if you're with someone who you hold in high esteem, like you just imagine everyone else sees them through your eyes as well, and so you're just like, of course that they would do this to this person.
And it's toxic. It's toxic love.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you can't salvage the love, and I think I have, but that version of it is toxic, and it has to go.
You got to kill that. Like, I think I'm happy mentally with how I've grown and stuff like that, and what I understand about relationships now. But for a very long time, I was just fucking
And dude, no
terrible at it,
judgment,
man.
no judgment of you, man. To be like young like that and be put in that position, I mean, that's tough. And again, every energy, it's all balanced. Like whatever she was feeling, she wasn't getting something from you, and it just wasn't matched up. But by all means, if the communication happened right, you guys could have ended things, and she could have gone. You know what I mean? Like it could have definitely happened in a better way. But so like that, so she gets home, she's like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, so she's moving out and stuff like that.
Is it through the breakup that you realized she was cheating on you, or
it was through the conversation, because it's I still didn't know that this fucking guy existed until she came back. Like I had no idea that. I was like, who the fuck is? I was like, I kept asking her, like, is there another guy? Pretty much just from insecurity and from I don't know, context clues at that fucking point. And then she finally admitted that that her shit friend and baby daddy lived with the older brother. Then it was like,
so did she say it like, or did you, or she just didn't deny it?
She didn't admit till years later that she cheated on me.
But you knew for sure, like.
Yeah, I mean, it was 3 weeks of going there a lot. It's just like, well, this is exactly what you did in a quicker version with me,
Yeah.
So whether, like, she finally admitted that they fucked and stuff like that.
So was that it for you guys?
Yeah, that was it.
So she moved out, and that was it.
Yeah.
And you were engaged.
Yeah.
Did she have a ring?
Yeah, but that was a weird situation. Like she worked at a jewelry company, so it's just like, I don't know. The whole thing was ridiculous, but yeah.
So then your story. So you don't talk to her for how long?
3 years.
Go 3 years without talking to her. Were you able to move on completely?
Well, no, there were some moments there. I think there was maybe a 3 or 4 month period.
There was no like breakup sex.
There was like months later in a way, because like I think she went through a weird phase where like she didn't know if she wanted to be with the dude that she left me for, essentially. Because the dude's a fucking idiot. Like the guy was a moron.
I had breakup sex with a girl, and it was after a few months of like our thing slowly dying, and then we had breakup sex. I didn't know it was breakup sex. I was like, maybe we'll do this now. All my friends were like, dude, be careful, because she had already broken my heart. The sex was, average at best.
Yeah, the same with us. Like months later, like could have just seen each other, and like neither of us were feeling it, and it was just one of those things where it's like, oh, we both definitely hate the fuck out of each other. So,
this girl that I had breakup sex with. And I've gone into detail on the podcast about it. Within a week's time, I find out that she's dating this other dude,
right.
and I'm trying to do the math, because you have to do the math. And where she actually invites me to a bar, and we go into the bar, and there's a dude there buying her drinks. That's the bartender and owns the bar. And I'm like doing the math. And I'm like, and I finally had enough drinks where I pulled her. I was like, "Are you fucking this guy? Because we just fucked." Yeah. And then she's like, "Let's go outside." And I was like, fuck. And this is my Lower East Side New York moment where we go outside. And by the way, flying to New York tonight. Can't wait to go back to this neighborhood, walk by and go, fuck you! We go outside and we'll have at it, whatever. And I'm not like one of those, fuck you, you whore. I'm not one of those. It's just like, oh, I'm an idiot. Fuck you. Like, I swear if you saw the surveillance, it was not louder than, fuck you.
Yeah.
This is stupid. And I walk away. And then I put some music on. And by the time I'm in the subway, I'm getting text messages from her like, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, oh, so you fucked me while you were with the next guy?
Yeah.
Just why? And then 2 years later, their relationship, you find out that he cheated on her. And now, and again, she's with a guy now that seems awesome for her. And and it's gotten to a place where I'm truly happy for her. And she probably listens to this podcast. And I hope she realizes that, like, by knowing that she's with a guy that honestly seems like a good guy and he's been vetted through other friends and whatever, I am happy for her. I'm happy that the guy that, like, I was tangled up with that those guys are gone and she could move on with a better guy. But, like, she got cheated on after it seems like she cheated on, you know what I mean? It was like, what, you know, it's like kind of like an eye for an eye thing here where like a lot of wounded people, well, you know, like we've all, so anyway, so it sucks. It sucks to like do that math and go, oh, that would have been nice to know at the time. Maybe we wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, because I didn't know. You actually just fucking reminded me. I feel like I've repressed a lot of these memories, and the more that I talk about it, the more I'm like, oh yeah, a lot more.
Well, what better way to dig it up than a Monday morning?
Yeah, a lot more fucked up shit happened than I remembered. Because she said she was going to move in with her mom who lived in Indiana, right? And so
after your breakup.
After our breakup, right? So she said she was going to move there, and I think she actually did briefly. And then we were like almost talking like we were going to get back together after a couple of months, right? And then like she just kind of ghosted me, just kind of went dark. And I found out a full week after she went dark that she moved from Indiana into this guy's place or whatever.
Do you think she got some sort of approval by knowing you still wanted her?
Yeah, well, because I think she liked the backup plan. I think that's the kind of girl she was. Like, I felt like she always kept...
Boy, backup plan is a very smart. It's genetically for a woman to have.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, it's a smart thing to have. I don't think backup plans help anybody with profession or personal life. I think it makes sort of a half-assed trial at whatever your A plan is. If you know you got a B plan, your A plan's like, well, let's try it once and then move on.
And I felt like she was the kind of girl. God damn it, you're making me remember way too much.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's
free therapy.
It's good. It's good to let all this out. I've been repressing too much. She always had a male friend. Of some kind, usually always a straight guy, always someone who I was like, that guy wants to fuck her for sure.
For sure.
Like but it was just super beta maybe, or just wouldn't make a move or anything like that. So I think she was always stringing along a B plan, or plan B if A didn't work out. Because again, serial dater, like had to be with somebody.
Who's on deck.
Yeah. And then years later, that all came around again. Because they got married.
So she marries the guy who she was cheating
after
with.
They have a kid.
She's had a kid.
Yeah, she's had a kid. They got
not named Travis.
No, it is not mine. I've made sure of that. So I guess she got knocked up pretty fucking quickly after they moved in together.
As you do.
And then, of course, because you need insurance, they got married at a courthouse, classy style. And then she has a kid and stuff like that. And then I don't see her for 3 fucking years. Just darkness, not until I was 23. And then I don't even really remember how we started talking again.
Text message? Just a random?
I'm sure.
It's always random. It's always comment on a photo or something.
Oh, I remember now. I was going to move to LA for the first time. And just some weird part of me wanted to fucking like reach out and just be like, hey, I'm about to be fucking gone. And
you had lost weight at this point.
Oh, yeah.
You had lost a bunch of weight.
Full.
So are you more confident now?
For sure.
I mean, by a bunch of weight, you lost...
130, 140 pounds.
You've lost you lost Tasha.
Yeah.
You lost Tasha and her handbag.
Yeah.
She's listening. Tasha and a heavy handbag.
Yes. And a hiking backpack. But yeah, lost a fuck ton of weight and was dating a little bit like other people and stuff like that. Obviously, I had girlfriends in between. But yeah, just had more confidence and whatnot. And so, I don't know, I reached out to her in some weird... and then we started talking again, and then it got real weird. There's no way for this to make me or her seem like a good person. The next person.
But that makes you a good person.
Yeah.
To know that disclaimer.
Like,
we've all got shitty. I hear you.
It really fucked with me too. Like
Dude, you're 23.
Yeah. And like, of course, like this is one of those girls that like still to this day I'd consider the whole love of your life thing, like the.
Dude, the shelf life, the half-life for a toxic relationship, it's like plutonium.
Yeah.
4 years, 3 years is not... Then you think it's a blink of an eye, you're still the same like kid inside who's like, well, I want to be vindicated. Yeah. I want to be loved.
Well, I'm still such a douchey, hopeless romantic. Like, I was a sophomore, she was a freshman when I first like met her. That like I had that like love at first sight moment. Like just, someone walks through and like, so I had a crush on her through all of high school. But she was with the one guy she was with. Before she inevitably left him and got with me.
You set her on a pedestal, on a very high pedestal.
Oh, yeah. I even briefly dated one of her friends while we were in high school, and her friend didn't want to date me because she knew I was like in love with her, basically.
Yeah.
It was one of those fucking situations. But yeah, so she's got a kid, and she's married to this fucking guy, and I reach out to her before I move here to LA, and then we start hanging out, and like, at first, it was just like she would just stop by, I don't know, on the way somewhere or something like that, because she was full, like living with this guy in an apartment, had her kid or whatever, and then and one day she wanted me to hang out with her and this guy's kid, and it made me feel so fucking weird, man. But like I really, at that moment, I don't know, really wanted this girl back for some reason, or almost wanted her back as a reason to not move out here, maybe, like almost as a like some weird romantic safety net or something like that. Like if I would like,
you're living in the past. Everyone knows that.
Like I would stay in Ohio and I wouldn't move if you would, leave this guy.
And you're also giving her the whether you tell her this or not, the chance to help you with these two paths you choose.
Yeah, and she basically after a few months and stuff, like it was a no-go situation. So I left, and I was only gone for 8 months. I only lived out here 8 months the first time, and then went back. And when I went back, I started dating this 18-year-old girl because I'm smart. And no, just because it's like I had also lost even more weight. And I was working a mover job and stuff like that, so I got all ripited and stuff. And so like I just got back to Ohio, and I've got like my LA glow going on because no one
you've seen things. Brad Pitt. Yeah,
I've seen some shit. That, and you've got when you're in a small town and you got the curb appeal of, oh my god, he's the comedian who lived in LA and now he's back. So I just started.
Whereas in LA, you were some scum on the bottom of some fucking guy's shoe.
I lived in Little Armenia and I was sad all the time.
Right, yeah.
I know.
Your life was mine now.
Yeah. But like I was properly single when I lived here the first time.
Yeah.
Like I maybe went on 2 dates. Like it was a nightmare. Because I didn't have any confidence yet because I was still young and still like had the fucking super fatty mental image and stuff like that.
For sure, you don't lose the fatty. I was a chubby kid growing up. You don't lose that,
dude. I'll never feel like
no ab is going to replace that feeling.
No, it's true.
Which is actually a good place to be. Like it's a good place.
It keeps me humble
in a way.
Sure.
In a way, like to stay driven, to be like, nah, I'm a piece of shit on the inside. I know that fat kid on the inside.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter how big my arms get. Dave.
Versus like somebody who grew up like in shape can just turn into some fat piece of shit because they're like
and they still think they still have confidence
and they don't care and that's fine too. And they're like and it's almost like dude like people with lower intelligence, whether it be IQ or just whatever ignorance,
self-awareness,
they're happier.
100%. I say all the time I wish I was dumb as a box of fucking
they're happier
rocks, man.
But you don't have that option. You don't have that. You're seeking and you're finding. And
if I would totally take away most of my brain if I could and just live this blissfully fucking half moronic life.
Sports fan.
Yay, yeah, football. Like I would love.
I do tap into that side where I'm like fucking Tom Brady.
Yeah.
But then afterwards I'm like, okay, how does it? And my career needs to. And I'm just like, whoa, slow down.
That's what I enjoy about the gym because sometimes I can just listen to music or like watch some MMA match while on the elliptical.
Dude,
and just be like, bruh,
yeah,
just get in that bro mode.
Get reptilian. Just get responsive to just. I totally understand that. That's the outlet that everybody needs to just get the fuck away from like this, and because it's comics that we put a magnifying glass, we put ourselves in the magnifying glass. Like, we do that to ourselves. And
we've just self-analyzed to a mentally crippling degree.
This is what this podcast is. Yep. But luckily after I do it, I feel great. I feel great after I do it. We're going to end this. I'm going to go to the gym or something, and I'm upload it. I'm going to it's a good feeling to get it out.
Right.
Because it's at least what we're doing is we're burning off that oil in like a controlled space.
Yeah, true.
We're not slapping our wives.
Yeah.
As long as dinner is on the table, which is, I love to joke about that because I'm the fucking chef of the house. I do all the women's shit. Oh, fuck yeah.
I used to...
so I can make... I'm okay making fun of that because I cook. Whatever.
I do that all the time. I slip into the redneck voice. That's one thing my ex hated. My most recent ex, because she hated doing dishes. Which, fine, that's fine. She did dishes 2 whole times when we lived together, and I did them the rest of the time. But I still couldn't help but walk in the kitchen and go, "Well, it looks like someone ain't doing their womanly duty." I couldn't help but be that fucking asshole, even though it's I'm the one who cleans.
Yeah,
I'm
dude,
the bitch.
It's not hard. I put on my wireless, my Bluetooth headphones. I pop in a 10 or 15 minute clip of something that looks interesting, or put some music on, and I just do the fucking anyway. So okay, so I want to get to the finish line of this ex that cheated on you. So she wants you to hang with her and her kid. I don't want to do the gender.
Well, okay, it was a boy. If you believe in such binary things,
did he decide he was a boy?
Sure.
Or was it a gender given to him?
I'm sure it was given. They're from a very white trash place. But so I get back. I'm dating this 18-year-old girl, and then I get a text from a Colorado number out of nowhere, which is very interesting. And so this bitch had downloaded a app that disguises your phone number and was texting me in secret because she somehow had found out that I was back. Probably because since I'm comic, I don't keep there's not a single thing on my social media is private. You can see every goddamn thing that I post. For sure. So I'm the most stalkable fucking person.
Yeah, absolutely.
So somehow figured out I was back, all that good stuff. And so I finally figure out who it is, and then we meet up, even though I'm dating this 18-year-old crazy girl. Again, sorry to just generalize.
Well, no, because the women are going to listen and go, if all his girlfriends are crazy, he must be. But I get it. I totally get it. I've dated the same exact. Every girl that's broken my heart had the same fucking.
Oh yeah, well, I'm also attracted to a type, and that type is crazy. I know it's fine. I'm so bored with normal people. Which my ex is probably the most normal person I've ever dated, and. That's still kind of unraveled.
Yeah. The key is to find the crazy that you can sort of wrangle in a way that's it's almost like a wind turbine. Okay, if your crazy blows in this direction, I'll just set up this fan to generate versus sucking the energy out of you. It's how does this crazy hamster wheel into my life?
Yes, exactly. And it's because I've dated everything from your standard girl crazy, which is just why are you watching that commercial with that girl in it so intently? That kind of crazy.
Women are crazy and guys are psychos.
Yeah.
He's a fucking psycho.
Well, then I've dated...
He is a psycho.
Which is fair.
I've done
plenty of psycho shit in my life, I'm sure.
I told you I was going to hunt you down because... And then it's and then that makes sense.
That's the worst when you're intellectual enough to rationalize your bullshit. I think that's when you get into the danger zone with certain relationships where it's just and that's how you get the Alabama husbands that are like, well, if you would have made dinner, I wouldn't have had to beat you. You know what I'm saying? That crazy. But
the key to enlightenment, and again, not there, is to not. It's the lower level is how you react. Okay, right. So it's okay. Am I going to react like a sane person, or am I going to just have road rage my whole life? And then if the 101 gives me road rage. And it gives you road rage, the next level of enlightenment is let's take surface roads. Let's avoid it completely. So like this argument I avoided last night could have been a bad fucking argument. It could have. I knew she was stressed, and I was kind of feeling like I helped her out and didn't get any love in return, and I kind of sidestepped it. Yeah. And in avoiding arguments, a lot of times you don't give yourself the credit of avoiding it. You just go it's whoa, I saved what could have been needing roses and a lot of time and whatever, just because I realized I was about to enter a shitstorm, and instead I put an umbrella on, and I what I mean. So anyway,
that was the hardest thing with my ex-fiance. I feel like I I didn't really understand the phrase of like a wise man knows when to shut the fuck up kind of thing, because it's just like every button I could push, I'd fucking push, and like every I could think of 1,000 different arguments that never would have happened if I just would have went, oh, and then just wandered away.
And it's not about burying it and sweeping it under the rug. I'm going to have this conversation with Tasha tonight. I'm making dinner. It's going to be great, and it's not going to be. But what I held back from doing is texting her, being like, "Hey, I felt very underappreciated. I drove you home from the airport." And
or making an emotional decision.
That's not. I need to have her there. Hey, give me your hands. I love you. Look, just so you know, I felt a little lacking in the love, and then at least we're in person and we can. It's hard enough communicating as it is, so better not try to text her while she's at a job. You know what I mean? But don't. And also, she needs to learn. Maybe don't text me before I'm about to go on stage, because I'll fucking miss my stage time and be on a FaceTime with her to like figure some shit out, because I don't want to go on stage with those issues. But anyway, I've never analyzed someone's one specific relationship so much, and we do have to get out of here because we're at 80 minutes.
Oh,
so I want to go soon. But I do want to know. So you decide to meet up with her?
Yes.
The ex that changed her phone number, cheated on you, and has a kid in a
So I'm back, and this had been like we hadn't dated in 3.5 years or something.
You're dating an 18-year-old, trying and playing with fire, whatever, maybe not knowing what's going to come of it.
Yes, I know. I am covering myself in gasoline and and roasting a s'more is what I'm doing. And just to make a long story short, basically, like I ended up. I didn't cheat on this 18-year-old girl, but I did make out with my ex, like in this weird, oddly passionate thing. Like I felt like she was incredibly upset that I had found another girl, and clearly that's why she started texting me. That I was back in Ohio and I found somebody else that I was in a relationship with, and so she shows up and she's bawling her eyes out and shit like that. And then I, of course, try to comfort her, and that just leads to whatever it leads to. But then for the next 2 months, we kind of like. It was weird. It was like we were going to get back together. That was the whole intention.
While she's with this other guy.
Yeah, with this other guy with a
it's like she's
fucking child.
It's like she hasn't learned a goddamn thing, because, and maybe you didn't either at that point, because it's just like roles were reversed. Now that guy is you and you're that guy.
Well, this is where yes, exactly. Which is kind of in my mind, I guess, in the back of the sinister part of my brain, I was just like, I don't even give a shit that this guy has a kid with her. Like this dude, fucking in my mind. I was the victim.
And again,
this guy
you have every right to rationalize things. Everyone, unless someone's a complete psycho, commits crimes of passion. Sure, it's wrong. You'll go to jail, whatever. But like, in their mind, it was rationalized in a way where they felt okay, like they had been damned, and now it's their turn.
Right.
It doesn't make it right, but it's like it's better to at least pick that apart than just call someone a fucking like. Psycho or vindictive.
Yeah. Well,
maybe, but
what's the Dave Chappelle quote? Like, calling someone crazy is dismissing like everything about them or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's fair. But so what I think will make no one be on this woman's side is what transpired after this. Because for like 2 months, we were basically I was doing everything I could to help her figure out how to get a divorce, and we talked to a lawyer.
Wow.
We fucking planned out a bunch of stuff to get him away from this guy.
And were you fucking her at this time?
Not a lot, but yeah.
Not a ton.
Yeah, so like she was, yeah. So it was the same exact situation as basically, what happened before. You think I would have learned. But
so you're cheating on your ex who cheated on you is now cheating on her husband with you.
And then I broke up with the 18-year-old girl like pretty much like that, like the moment after all this happened. But
she's just a byproduct.
She's telling me that like this lease on their apartment is coming to an end, and when the lease is over, she wanted to just make this fucking transition with me and stuff like that. And then she went silent again for a week, and then she finally got a hold of me again, and I found out through a friend of a friend that they bought a fucking house together and were planning on buying a house this entire time. And so she was like stringing me along as a fucking plan B. Yeah, I think
maybe she enjoyed this like second life.
Yeah, My mom actually fucking said the best line. She was like, I think she was just a bored housewife who had nothing better to do, and she's also.
So were you confiding in your mom? Like, were you talking to her about this? Was
a little bit.
you?
I never really had that relationship with either of my parents where I tell them anything. But at this moment, my mom knew the most about divorce, I guess, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I was kind of confiding in her about a lot of this stuff. And then she was. I think that was the best rationalization. Like this girl. So when it all came to a head, I'm texting her on the day where she allegedly said that she was going to leave the guy and all that stuff. This is even after I found out they bought a house and stuff like that. But it was only his name and stuff, so she could easily have gotten out of it. So I still was kind of like, all right, I guess I believe you. And then he found her phone with like that found that we were texting, and then he started texting me from her phone.
As him or as her?
As him.
Okay.
And even called me and stuff like that from her phone and talked to me for a very brief period of time, which of course that was a really fun conversation. A lot of violent threats, that stuff.
Yeah.
And I played it off pretty well because he said, if I ever see you, I'll hurt you. I was like, really? Not even kill? Really hurt? He said he'd hurt me. And then I said, you can try. And then he just started yelling a lot and I hung up. But then we started texting each other back and forth, me and this fucking guy. And it turns out, man, I don't even know why this guy, apparently they have had other kids and he stayed with her. But like all the shit that he thought was going on was completely different than what I thought was going on. So she was like intertwining these insane webs of lies and stuff like that.
In the world would be so much better, again, to pull it all like onto like a macro level. If like people with difference of opinions could meet up and be like, oh, I thought about this. I thought you were the bad guy. No, I thought you were the bad guy. And it doesn't mean you have to bump dickheads and chug a beer together, but it's like you can have a gentleman's like tip and be like, oh boy, looks like we were both kind of like suckered.
Yes, exactly. And like God only knows what because the things you tell someone about an ex, especially if the relationship didn't end well, and then the person you're dating now, there's no way the person you're now dating has any high opinion of the person that you were dating. So like God only knows what this guy thought of me. And then I thought no good things about this fucking guy, because in my mind he was the guy that like. And
you painted all of his bad things into some monster.
Yeah, exactly. Which fucking I don't know. He could be a great fucking guy. I don't know.
He might not have known. Yeah, like.
And we had no idea any of this shit was going on under his back. That I would like when he'd go to work. I'd go to his fucking house, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean? Like I empathize with the dude in a lot of ways, because it's just like in my book, he's the villain, and in his book, I'm the villain, like 100%. Like,
and that's what you have in common.
Yeah, exactly. Which is weird, because I'm sure if he wasn't still so invested emotionally in this woman because like he keeps knocking her up or whatever, then sorry, that was a little
no. I mean, and there's a side of the story that you don't know, even though it's could be built on such shittiness. There's if they created like kids they love, I mean, who knows? Like they might.
Yeah, and like they had a great kid. He was a great kid, and I'm sure he'll hopefully not
listen to this podcast
one of these days. Hopefully,
and
you know what? Pull this up a little. I can't remember his name.
Jeez.
Oh well, it doesn't matter. But yeah,
no, it takes a lot of balls to just acknowledge that. Like, look, we've all got that in us, that sort of shittiness, but we're all better than that. And we don't have to be defined by the shittiness. We can actually build and learn from that. Yeah. And that's an important thing. And I mean, dude, it's been years since this happened for you, and it doesn't mean you're not going to do something shitty again. It doesn't mean you're not going to be triggered and feel those feelings again, but at least it seems like you're at a place where you're going to acknowledge like when you do hit that crazy level and at least know to just step away and figure out what you can do, whether it's go to the gym or do something to like, let's fucking calm these thoughts down and look at this rationally, because the only thing I can control is my own serenity and self-love.
Right.
And that's the only thing that you've got control in, and then you're going to eventually find someone when that all lines up and is right, who's way better and far exceeds your expectations of what you, because this happens, this whole like you guys kind of like dating or being with the same girl and being sort of two-timed or whatever, this whole thing, it happens in the other direction. There's plenty of stories where like 7 women find out they're all dating the same guy and they fucking team together and become friends to go shit on him, and they realize like, oh, we're not all bitches and cunts. We just thought we were like the main one and the other one was the villain. And it's like, I mean, it sucks when other people have to get involved in shittiness, but it sounds like, you know, in the chemical equation that whatever your shittiness was, I mean, it has to balance out with hers, even though it sounds crazy. It has to, in the sense that if it doesn't balance out, then you're not going to grow from it. You have to like equal out.
Well, yeah, and it's also, there's also something that it took me a long time to accept, that there's some people that no matter how you love them, some people can be too broken. And I think my ex-fiance is an example of a person who is like, just too many things have happened, not enough self-awareness or reflection. So it's just like, and
it comes down to this, what you mentioned with your last relationship, where she wasn't willing to communicate to you, and for me, that's where I come down to. And I've had this conversation with Tasha early on in our relationship, where I'm like, I've kind of had to say to myself, because I'm like, look, we're about to go get coffee. We had a fight last night. You know, this is years ago, and I'm like, look, I got to go sit down in this thing, and I don't need her to be, you know, 99% right or 99% wrong. I just need her to be willing to like say that she wants to work on it with me. I'm okay. I'm okay taking a few losses. I'm okay.
Oh yeah, and I think the most important thing that happened to me with my ex-fiance is that I finally was able to accept that I am often wrong and a piece of shit. So it's good to like that helped me in my last relationship, I think, the most, to be like, okay, what am I doing here? That's super fucked up.
But now you're single. So, like, are you looking, I mean, like, where are you?
I don't know, when you live in a van, asking to come over to my place is rapey, you know? So
the van thing is good because it's a good, like, cheap way for you to recalibrate and rebuild upon you.
Yeah, true. And, like, I mean, I'm beholden to none at the moment, you know. I can
it's symbolic.
Yeah, it's nice. It's and really, I'm off the grid, man. No one knows where I live. I can just, which.
How do you know Joe?
Oh, man.
Joe being the guy who
when I first moved to LA, I lived with Joe Menente. He was the first person I ever met and lived with who was a full-on LA person.
I should have him on the podcast because I don't know anything about him other than like he's just been nice to me.
I don't know.
If someone's nice to me, that's literally, I'm like, that guy's all right.
Yeah, I know.
That's all I need.
No, I'm the same way. Like even especially with girls and stuff like that, it's like, oh, they're nice to me. I'm sure they're great.
Great people.
But yeah, I think Joe, actually, I would love to hear what Joe has to say on this podcast, because he's, I think he's had a lot of emotional scarring or stuff, or doesn't open himself up at all, which is why he's powerfully single and stuff like that.
Powerfully single.
Powerfully.
That should be the name of this podcast. Powerfully single. I wanted to read in a listener's email. It's super quick. So you'd actually be the perfect person to answer this. And there's some typos in it. So let me, let's give him a new name. Give me a guy's name. Give me a good bro's name.
Chad.
I would say anything but Chad.
Oh, really?
Chad's so over.
Chad, no. Connor.
This is great. All right, Connor wrote in. He wrote in actually at 2:34 a.m. this morning, so this is a fresh one from Connor. I don't know if he's on the East Coast. Maybe it wasn't that early. But Connor wrote in, morning. You've done an episode on. Have you done an episode on persistence? Reason I'm asking Broski is there's a chick I like and interested in. She's 20. I'm 29. Met her in the summer at my job and is only here for the summer. She's only here for the summer. I fell for her because she's a bikini bodybuilder and she's intelligent.
Word.
She's good looking too, and I want to hang, but she works out 3 times a day and has other priorities, which is great. Don't get me wrong.
3 times a day?
I was able to get her number like the second day after I was leaving for Kentucky. Because of her priorities, she can't hang and won't be free till end of July. Would it be worth pursuing or let it go? FYI, Kentucky was awesome. Thanks, Connor. What do you say?
Just let it go, bro. Let it go, man.
You gotta let it go.
First off, who the fuck works out 3 times a day?
It's a solid let it go. I mean, look, if she was into you, she could ditch a workout.
Yes, that was the hardest thing for me to learn. Like, I think that fucking cheesy ass movie Hitch with Will Smith. It brought up some great and valid points. It's like anytime a girl is deflecting and stuff like that, like if a girl really likes somebody, they'll make the fucking time, no matter what. You know what I mean? Like, especially if they're really into somebody. So if someone just keeps reflecting, or deflecting, I should say, then chances are they're probably just not that.
And what I've learned, like, I'm sure he's like super sexually attracted to her and all that, and I'm sure she knows it.
Man, yeah.
And when they know it, it's like, look,
she's working out 3 times a day. She knows most people are sexually attracted to her.
Probably the strongest vagina. Just grabs them with her power legs.
20-pound Kegels. Bend a metal
Jerking
bar
off
with
his
her badge.
dick with her pelvic or PC muscle. I think. Here's what I've learned. He's 29. Here's what I've learned. Like, look,
20 is too young for 29.
You gotta keep meeting hot women because a percentage of them will have the time for you.
Yeah.
And by hot, I mean whatever you find attractive, physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever you find attractive. There's gonna be some that they're just not into you. They've just got something else going on, and they probably appreciate the attention you give at the gym or whatever. Women are going to love being hit on. I mean, honestly, when it's not in a creepy way, they're going to love the compliment. I mean, and it's crazy to say that in today's environment, but like they're going to love a normal compliment from a guy. Doesn't mean you have the right to pursue her. And it sounds like if she's not free till end of July, literally, I would say text her end of July. Like, don't text her end of July, like, in something funny and as just, like, cast it out there.
Yeah.
But don't expect anything more than maybe a good night of sex, because if she's leaving and she's 20, dude, like, you don't want to get involved in that.
20, and especially that physically focused.
And find out what you like about her, and just find another girl that might live in town.
Well, that, and the worst thing you could possibly do is is keep in contact until that time. Like, that's how you get deep level 5 fucking friend zone right there.
That's a level 5 friend zone.
That's level 5 friend zone.
Yeah, and sometimes you can spin out of it, but it's not worth it. I mean, throw a text out, but if she doesn't respond, I don't know. I mean, you could also build up some sexual chemistry through flirting if she really is busy, but like, don't expect anything more than a night of sex, because I mean, it doesn't sound like she's really available. If anyone likes random advice, this is the place to get it, because we've got nothing to gain from it, Connor. We're not your best friend being like, bro, go for it, bro.
Smash that puss, bro. Broski.
Connor, just do it, broski. Just get in there and dig it out. Dig it out, bro.
Bro, she's going to break your dick off of those pelvic floor muscles.
Yeah, show what a super clean looks like.
A clean and snatch, you know what I'm saying?
You get down there on that ground and have a CrossFit all over your face. I don't know what that means. Thanks so much for being on the podcast today.
I do. Thank you for having me.
Where can people follow you, find you?
You can follow me. I'm pretty much at Clyburn Comedy on everything. And of course, come to Fourth Wall. Watch us
Seriously.
do what we do.
It's a special place. If you live in the Valley and want to go see how comedy is born, we have a secret.
The Fourth Wall is the dojo. So if you want to come see a bunch of fucking trained killers working on their craft,
it's a 10-seat, 12-seat room that we work on new jokes, and it's no surprise that A-list comedians want to be there, because it is a special place, and
it's got this energy right now that is undeniable.
It's a dive off of the highway exit next to a sushi
by
place.
A 7-Eleven.
By an angry guy at 7-Eleven who always tries to upsell me on the second pepperoni pizza. He's like, do it for $2. I'm like, give it over, bring it to me. But it's a special place. I tell Tosh about it. I go, I'm performing in a tent next to a homeless guy who's yelling, and it's and honestly, I could be, boy, like the emotional sort of like happiness I felt after that Saturday 3 p.m. mic was just great, because anyway, sometimes it sucks like anything. Sometimes it's like, that fucking bombed, but sometimes it's really special. And
and I'm lucky enough to work there, and I host there 5 nights a week, every day but Tuesday, Thursday. So
everyone go follow his social media and tell him you heard him here. I got to shout out these dates. So I'm flying to New York tonight. I'm going to be doing shows. What's the date? 26th and 27th in Brooklyn and New York Comedy Club.
Nice.
And then I've got a feature weekend the following week in at Comedy Connection in Providence, Rhode Island, which is going to be a ton of fun. I'll be doing long sets there, and that's like July 6th and 7th. It's that Friday and Saturday. So
nice.
I can't wait to go home and spend some time with my family. I'm going to record some podcast episodes. Going to go, just enjoy doing some shows in another part of the world or part of the country.
Absolutely.
And everyone, let us know what you think. Write in sexactuallypodcast@gmail.com if you have any questions or comments. And as always, we love the reviews. Apple Podcasts. If you have an iPhone, tell Siri to subscribe to Sex Actually Podcast. Literally, all you have to do is tell Siri, subscribe to the Sex Actually Podcast. Even if you listen on another device, we're trying to ramp up our subscriptions and get featured. So I much appreciate that. And there's been so much love attached to this podcast lately that I'm really happy to meet new people. I'm happy to have you on and to hear your story. And I want to do another podcast episode with you someday, just talking about our glory days of football. Because I feel like we could talk all day about that, and we didn't even get into that. We just were sappy love language shit.
I know. We just tell the entirety of one relationship arc.
So come back next time, and then I'm sure you and Tasha can talk about Skyline Chili or whatever shit you Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
Is that Ohio? That's a Cincinnati thing, right?
Yes,
too much
exactly.
cheese.
No,
There's too much cheese.
It's all over Ohio. We like our chili dogs and our inevitable constipation followed by aggressive diarrhea. So,
and somebody's listening statistically to this podcast with diarrhea from Skyline Chili, and it's blowing their fucking mind and their asshole.
Yeah, the Skyline Chili is feeling good at Skyline time, which I find ironic because after you eat Skyline, no one feels good.
Best part is after you drink your Diet Coke or whatever you get there, they'll fill you up a to-go cup, and it's a great thing. Anyway, they're not a sponsor. Thanks for being on the show. That's our episode, Sex Action Podcast. Bye, everybody.
Bye. That was a lot of fun, man.
We could have gone 2 hours. We always try to crack an hour, but when you want to go long, we know we're
we had to talk.